Hello there, chaps and chapettes. This episode of BRB UK is brought to you by our very own merch store at tpublic.com/stores/BRB and also Tabletop Tuesday at Loading Stoke Newington.
BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Hello, and indeed ahoy hoy. Welcome to episode 495 of BRB UK. Oh, it's too hot in Slough. The bright side is it may all melt and disappear into the sea like a ginormous oil slick, which actually doesn't sound good for the environment, which means Slough might be responsible for the downfall of humanity amongst all the other things that are trying to compete for that title at the moment. Anyway, happy Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever day you're listening to this. I'm Dan, one of your hosts. Hello. I am ostensibly here to talk to you about video games, as is the Coleman.
Hi!
How are you?
I'm really hot. That's all you need
He's
to know.
looking at you, you smoking hot piece of man love. How are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Talking to moving from a hot piece of man love to a sweaty blob of likeableness. Tim! Hello.
I don't think I'm as sweaty as you two are. Like, this room is not as hot as
How do you know?
your two rooms are.
How do you know? How do you know? How do you know how moist I am, Tim? How do you know?
You've literally
How
been
do you
complaining
know?
about
That's
it
your
for the last
supposition.
5 minutes.
Doesn't necessarily mean that you are more sweaty or less sweaty than me.
I mean,
Why is it you were
possibly.
fine with being called a blob, but you took offence at being sweaty?
Hey, look, it's Tim. I don't argue with the inner workings of Tim's mind anymore. It's fine.
just call me Blob?
Did you just call me sweaty?
I mean, I arguably am a blob. I don't know if I'm more or less blobby than you, but I'm definitely less sweaty than
once
you.
you go the wrong side of 40, it's very difficult not to be a blob the wrong side of 40, to be fair. There is a certain amount of blobness.
Yep. As soon as you pass 40, then you start bursting through doors and walls and running at Noel Edmonds while screeching at high volume pictures.
Yes,
with
that's
a
exactly it.
distorted voice.
Yeah. I like to think of Mr. Blobby as a really low rent version of the Hulk. Is what I like to think of.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
/ Kool-Aid Man.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. He's fine. You know, he's
Good.
just the Incredible Hulk in another bit of the multiverse. That's Mr. Blobby, which may make Noel Edmonds Tony Stark potentially in that other alternate universe.
I'm not sure that tracks, but okay.
Might do.
I'd watch that.
Yeah. Who would Timmy
Yeah.
Mallet be? Oh, he'd be Ant-Man.
No, he's Banner.
You reckon he's non-Hulk?
Yeah.
Hulk. You reckon
Yeah.
he's Banner? Okay. We're about to go through some really unsavoury bits of 1980s kids' entertainment. So I
I'm
think
not
should
sure we
probably
have
go
time
take a
this
step
week.
back here.
Oh, I've got one.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Scylla Black Widow.
No, that's good. That's good. Right
Nice. That is very good. That is. I applaud you for that. Well done.
there. Surprise,
Well
surprise.
done. Right. Anywho, there is an absolute metric, a ton of games to speak about this week because there has been all of the shows of which I've watched somewhere between 0 and some of, depending on the show.
I've tried to watch all of them, although that was quite difficult to keep track of what was on when and what was happening at what time in the UK and all that type of stuff. But I think I've managed to watch all of them apart from the Guerrilla Collective 3.5, which I didn't understand the point of, and I could rant about Guerrilla Collective, but I'll probably try and avoid doing that as well. But yeah.
I saw all of them apart from the Epic Games Summer Showcase, which is why it doesn't appear on the agenda.
Okay.
Excellent.
But everything else is listed out. But yeah, it's for those that aren't in the know, and I don't know how you'd not be at this point because it's kind of flogged to death everywhere. Summer Games Fest Showcase 2022. That kicked off this week, along with a bunch of other different things for Summer Games, which, as mentioned, Epic Games Store. We got Devolver Digital, Day of the Devs, Guerrilla Collective. We got Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase. They had 2 game showcase, in fact, because one just wasn't enough to hold everything together. And then a Capcom showcase as well. So there's a fair bit to take a look at. Now, in the days of E3, where we would get everyone from every single podcast on BRB together and put together a mammoth 3, 4, 5 hour show and stick it out on the internet. I don't have the sanity or the time to edit this anymore in such a drastic way. So we kind of condensed those, and now there isn't an E3, there's some Games Fest to look at. We're going to condense that as well. So we've just gone through a big list of games, highlighted anything that we think we possibly want to talk about, and then we're just going to pick ones at random to
I've got a random number generator.
Oh, see, I was thinking of that and decided not to because it makes that noise.
What? It doesn't make it what? That's not me. That's not the noise I make when I generate random numbers.
Can I interrupt those plans and spoil things before we even get going? Is that okay?
No.
I'm going to just jump in
No,
with
it's not.
one thing that's not quite fit into the rest of everything we did. There was one extra thing that happened this week that we didn't actually put on the list, and that was Netflix Geeked, or Geek Week, I think they call it, or whatever it is. But Geeked Week, I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah. But
there's that.
They did have a number of games that they spoke about in that. There was one that was the kind of headline one, which I'll talk about a little bit more. But there was a number of games that you can download for free, in inverted commas, as long as you have a Netflix account and you have Netflix on your phone. You can go in and just download the games, and then they're in your game launcher as it is on Android. Not sure exactly how that works on iOS. But there's a number of games, and some of them are pretty decent. There's a version of Exploding Kittens, which is a good card game, which is kind of a good one to get for free, because I wouldn't necessarily pay for it, but it's nice to have access to. Stranger Things 1984, which works okay, considering it's on a mobile, and is kind of a wandering around, punching people in the face type game, where you're taking part as Hopper and the kids and doing various things in different environments, and like puzzle solving and pathfinding. And I also tried a game called Into the Dead 2 Unleashed, which is a kind of zombie shooter. It's almost like a...
No, so zombie shooter with a title like that.
Yeah, but it's almost like a 3D endless runner. You're just propelling forward and you can steer yourself left and right and shoot, and you get different weapons and different unlocks and different things. It's graphically impressive for a mobile game, but it's a bit simple for what we would possibly want from that sort of game. But it's got kind of a lot to it and a few layers, so that was interesting. The main one and the main game that they spoke about there was a game that I will possibly pronounce badly, but Poinpy, I'm not sure. Poipy. Poinpy.
Pimpy, the amazing wonder person.
But it's a
Pig.
It's a kind of platformer, which obviously wouldn't necessarily go well with me, but it's very cute, very well designed. I can't remember, the game designer did design something else that was well known, and I can't remember what it is if someone wants to look that up. But generally, it's a platformer where you're trying to escape a massive cat that is coming up or cat-like creature that is coming up from the bottom of the screen, and you're continuously jumping upwards, and then you've got to try and collect a selection of fruit that it gives you, that tasks with. It comes up at the top of the screen saying, collect a lemon, a strawberry, and a lime or whatever, and you have to try and collect that selection of fruit without touching the floor. And as you go, you unlock more jump orbs, which means you can jump more times without hitting the floor, and it gets more and more complicated as to what you're collecting. Yeah, it's quite simple, but it's reasonably effective. You're like pulling downwards to then propel yourself upwards into the kind of opposite direction that you pull. But yeah, it's one that maybe not a perfect fit for myself or necessarily for either of you two, but I imagine there's quite a few listeners that might enjoy it. And while it's free, and I imagine a lot of our listeners have Netflix, I thought it was worth pointing out that, yeah, Netflix do games, and that one is a well-made mobile game, basically, that you can get for free, in inverted commas, just by downloading it through Netflix. Just mentioning in case anyone wants to go check that out. That was something that not as many people are talking about, so I thought it was worth mentioning before we got stuck into everything else.
So he was talking about them.
Yes.
You.
Yes. There you go.
You are talking about them.
Else.
Yes.
And but much so I applaud your raging against the machine of an agenda and stuff. We do have an actual buttload of stuff to talk about. And much so I would love to hear about Netflix's mobile games. I'm going to pull hosty person rank here and spin the random number generator for the things we might want to talk about. Okay, so first of the things.
Before you do that, Dan, I'd like to interject and say that there was actually another event that we didn't cover. It's called the Amazon Prime Flip-to-Do sale, and I would like to talk about 20 games that I've played this week as well. So if you could just indulge me for 45
Actually,
minutes.
I went to a car boot sale where I discovered a
really? Did you see
41 games cartridge.
any Atari?
that I'd like
We
to talk
don't
about.
cover much mobile games very often. I thought that was one worth noting, as a large percentage.
It wasn't just one.
As a large percentage of our audience will actually have access to them. But anyway,
We headlined Diablo Immortal last week.
okay.
Hey,
that's
you've got a
true.
mobile phone. Haven't you all got mobile phones?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry, Dan, do
Okay,
the
sorry.
generator thing. I want to know what
Okay.
we're talking about.
Do you want me
Yes.
to pretend to make Wheel of Misfortune?
Yes.
noises?
No,
Oh.
I just want you to hit it instantly, and then we're not waiting for you to do a thing, and we just got the name.
Wrestle Quest. Wrestle Quest. Talk about Wrestle Quest.
Oh,
Okay, this one we've spoken about in depth, so I won't go too much into it. But this is, this is going to be a rare mobile game reference that no one knows about. TNA Impact, the game from 2000 and I want to say 9 or 10.
that's a deep
This
pull.
is basically that game, but reimagined and not TNA themed. It's all different wrestling legends that are either alive or dead, or in some cases probably should have died a long time ago. And you're kind of going through a little RPG world in a similar vein to Golf Story, but it's all pro wrestling themed, and you're going up against the likes of the Macho Man Randy Savage and Andre the
Yes.
Giant and Jacob the Snake.
Jacob the Snake. I just wanted you to particularly mention this one as it appeared on the Guerrilla Collective, because I was quite excited by the fact it had Animal and Hawk from Legion of Doom in it, which I didn't know until I saw it in this trailer. So yeah, I thought that was quite cool.
Yes.
Yes. So, that is it. Wrestle Quest. Next
Yeah, I'm so
game.
excited.
As Dusk Falls. That's on me, this one. So
Ooh.
this As Dusk Falls, it was on the Xbox Game Showcase, if memory serves. Guess
Yes,
what?
coming to
it's
Game
coming
Pass.
day one on Game
Yeah.
Pass. And it's a console
both.
exclusive. All of these things you could just put in any of those games. So this is... You might think I'm about to disappear up my own bottom in a somewhat David Cage kind
Usually
of
do.
way.
What?
Huh? What? Yes, David Cage. I am quite looking forward to going on the emotional roller coaster that this game has for a couple of reasons. Reason the first, I really like the motion comic art style it's got going on.
That
All
was cool.
great motion comics just have a little hint of movement. They don't try and be a full-on 3D realization of anything. They just really use motion to draw the eye to really interesting things, and I love the art style of this game.
Yeah.
Reason the second, you can play co-op. I hear you go, wait, what? It's a single-player narrative game, Dan. Stay off the strong cheese. Well, what you can do is everyone who is sat around with you, or nay, on a Twitch stream, you can all, rather than it being a single person deciding, you can all vote on what you want the options to be. So that
seen
could be
in,
quite good fun.
So mechanics seen in the Telltale games towards the end, and also the Dark Pictures anthology titles as well, I believe.
Yeah, and this.
Indeed.
Although I think that's more of a pass the controller type.
Right, yeah.
You play this scene, you play this scene, you play this scene. But the idea of co-op in a single-player narrative story game, it has been toyed around with. I do like the idea.
But it seemed to be a kind of
Yes. But I'm
long-ranging
really looking
story
forward to
that
that.
goes for about 20 years or so, and you see the characters grow up, and
Yes.
so you see the consequences of the decisions you've made earlier in the game.
Yep.
So yeah, that did seem interesting. I quite like
And
that.
And it'd be a really nice thing, because a lot of the Coleman will remember that esque type kind of notes you see if you're playing through. You talked about Netflix for 5 minutes without being asked to. Coleman will remember that, for example.
Because I hear
it's
it back
quite-
when I'm editing.
I know. What's nice is that it looks like it won't just be in like the short-ish term of these kind of stories that we often see, but perhaps we'll have longer-term stuff when you're playing these characters like 30 years in the future and a lot's happened with their lives, that the decisions in their past might come back to haunt them in different ways. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I think it could be a really fun game, but does have a high risk of disappearing up its own bottom if it's not careful.
Yep.
Which I hope it doesn't. I'm
What's
sure
the
the
next?
fact that they're French is purely coincidental. Colin.
Yeah. What's
Right.
the next title, Dan?
The next title is Pentiment.
Ooh,
Pentiment. Who had that?
That's a really odd looking game. Again, a fairly unique looking art style. Fairly unique being a qualifier for unique. But anyway, but yeah, it's a kind of...
It's also another game that was on both Xbox
Similar to other stuff.
Yes, yeah. And we've got a bit more detail on some things. But yeah, like, just intriguing. The fact that it's a medieval murder mystery type thing, I quite like the sound of that. That I've always been... at school, I read In the Name of the Rose as one of the books I studied in English. And Cadfile and all that has always been something that's appealed to me, sort of thing. And so, yeah, that aspect of it appealed to me. But then a really interesting art style in the fact that they've recreated kind of medieval style artwork and made it into a video game that you can actually play. Yeah, I just think that one's going to be really intriguing. Who was the developer on that? Was an odd pick as well. It was someone that I didn't expect to be doing that at all. Someone that made something completely different. I'll look it up in a second. But yeah, just an intriguing game. It's one that's definitely on my radar. Again, I think that might be coming to Game Pass at some point, so I can definitely try that out at some point. But even if it didn't, that's one that I'm definitely going to track down at some point because, yeah, that piqued my curiosity.
Okay, so we have just done... Next one up is The Cub.
Right, that's another one from me. Oh, right, it's Obsidian that made Pentiment as well, which I thought was interesting because
Pentiment.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Which was not what I was expecting.
Pentiment.
The Cub was a really interesting one.
The Pentiment man kneels before God.
Right.
He also can't spell stuff. He kneeled before a dog.
Yeah, that's right.
But
God backwards, dog. Jesus backward, sausage. Is it coincidence?
yeah, the Cub's a funny one because
Satan backwards
I actually
Santa,
think
just
the
saying.
presentation that they gave on it was a bit odd. The guy sounded a bit highfalutin and a bit, as Dan would say, in danger of
These highfalutin narrators.
Highfalutin.
in danger of disappearing up his own backside, possibly.
Tall flute.
But I really liked their previous game, and this is a not quite sequel to that game. But it was a game that I spoke about on the podcast before called Wasteland Golf. And it was a really interesting, it was essentially a golf game, but it took you through an environment and did a lot of environmental storytelling in the background that was a kind of pastiche and critical of like our times and our attitude towards the environment and all sorts of other things. And as much as I said that, you know, the developer was a bit, I can't think of a nice way of saying it, but yeah, like it, yeah, kind of over it.
Think of a not nice way of saying
it.
Give that a go.
Anyway, but yeah, I said the ways I can express it. Anyway, but basically...
We have no overlords. We can say what we want.
But basically, the Cub is a character that you encountered in Wasteland Golf that was a kind of background feral kid that had been left on this planet that had generally been planet Earth that had generally been left to turn to dust and just occasionally visited by people to play golf now, basically. Well, not dust, but turned to ruin. And so this was the feral kid that was in the background. Right. And this is
like Milton Keynes.
Rather than being a golf game, this is now an action platformer featuring that kid. And it kind of extends the universe and explores things a little bit more. And that's one that, as you know, I'm not necessarily keen on my action platforming game type things unless there's something behind it. And I think that's going to have, again, another level of environmental storytelling and stuff going on and I'll be interested to see how they transition from it being a golf game to it being a more of a platformer. So yeah, that's definitely one I'm going to keep an eye on and the pickup when it comes out. I picked up Wasteland Golf on Switch and I think that will be a good fit for this game as well going forward. But yeah, one to look out for, I think.
I genuinely got all excited because when you were talking about Wasteland Golf, in my head, I thought you were talking about Curse to Golf,
right,
which I'm really looking forward to. And I know that's coming out for another year.
Yeah. I really recommend Wasteland Golf as well, though, because that was good.
No, next, Tim.
Yes.
Back in your box.
Coleman.
Yes, Tim.
The world at the moment can seem like a bleak, grey, dark place, and I can sometimes feel exposed and naked to the depravities of the world. Is there anything that you can
your naked
suggest
depravities?
Is there anything that you could suggest that would alleviate this and somewhat bring some colour into my life?
Well, if you're looking for colour, Tim, then you want to go to tpublic.com/stores/BRB, which is where we sell our merch.
What an excellent idea.
Not only do you have a lovely array of t-shirts with different designs that incorporate various different things from Big Red Barrel and Geekdom and gaming in general and Tabletop Tuesday and all these cool designs, but you can get them in a really, really nice range of colours. And what with the scorching heat at the moment in the UK is now is a good time to go and get yourself. I mean, I've got the Tabletop Tuesday in a kaiju fight in an orange t-shirt. The Zangief red one looks very good. You can't go wrong with white when it's so hot out. But yeah, we've got the Sonic blue one as well. They're all really good choices for the summer. And also you can keep yourself cool by picking up one of our range of different coffee mugs. But the life hack, you don't need to put coffee in it. And you could put iced coffee in it if you want. You could put a cold drink in it.
Good
you could
plan.
put a glass of water.
Ooh.
But it's not a glass, it's a
Put
mug.
ice in
And
it.
yeah, you could trick people into thinking you're having a cup of coffee, but it's just a mug with a cold liquid inside. So you're not as an adult as you think you are, but from the outside, you look like an adult, although it's probably a mug with Sonic the Hedgehog or something on it. So, I don't know, swings and roundabouts, really. Good mug, though.
Also, you can also purchase Dan's face. Like, not
Yes.
just Dan's face as well, but Dan's face when he was like 12 years old as well. What more could you want, really?
What more
I
could
just want
you
people
want?
to purchase. Yeah, I want people to purchase Dan's face just for the benefit of seeing Dan's face in public. This has to be done, people. We have to make this happen. Buy our merch now, especially Dan's face.
Go to tpublic.com/store/BRB and take a look at our cool range of merch. If you're watching the video version of this, I'll be throwing images up all over the place of different versions of merch. Buy it. Now.
It's probably one of yours. Naraka, Blade Point.
Oh, that's me.
That's-
I'm
man.
majorly excited about this. Is coming to consoles now. It was on the Xbox Bethesda showcase.
Hey, is it
say
coming to
that they're
Game
coming
Pass?
to Xbox. I assume it's coming to Game
I double
Pass.
checked.
can't
I double
off the top
checked
of
because
my
I
head.
originally thought it was, and then I saw it on the store for 30 quid, and I'm like,
not.
oh, it's not coming to Game Pass, but it is coming to Game Pass. I double checked. So yeah.
Okay, thank you for the very confusing explanation of it.
It's coming to Game Pass.
It isn't. It is. It isn't. It is.
Yeah. Well, it is.
Anyway, this is
Too long didn't read. It's come to Game
Yeah.
Pass.
It's a martial arts
Battle
brawler online title.
Right.
And I really like the look of that, and I've been umming and erring over picking it up on the console, and I keep thinking, because it goes down in price to £25, and I go, oh, maybe I'll get it this time. No, I've got too much stuff to play, and I do prefer playing things on the console over on a PC anyway. And now it's coming to console, and it looks really cool. And I'm hoping there's a Bruce Lee pack you can buy on the PC version. I'm hoping that's on the console version as well, because I quite like that.
It reminded me.
So you can sit there in the little yellow jumpsuit that you love so much, Coleman.
Yeah,
It reminded me.
Way of the Dragon. baby.
Way the
It
Coleman.
reminded me of Jade Empire, and that's no bad thing because I love that game, and we may never see that game ever again.
Yeah, I totally
I have
see
to,
that.
I have to say, it was all a bit. It was a very, very kind of typical martial arts game trailer as far as there was lots of shiny things and lots of ridiculous looking moves, but not really much in the way of what gameplay is going to look like. I'd be interested to see how they balance it, I have to say.
But am I correct in saying this has been out in, I believe, Chinese markets and other like Eastern markets for
Yeah,
quite
it's a
some
Tencent
time?
game.
It's
And, yeah.
well,
Or,
it's,
sorry, a
well,
NetEase
yeah.
game. A NetEase game.
well, it's been in the UK for I think about a year now
Okay.
on PC. It's only just coming to console. That's why I'm excited, because I just didn't want to pick up the PC version.
Fair enough. There we go.
And if
Right.
it's going to Game Pass, even better.
Yeah,
Quid's
yep,
in,
yep.
bud.
Yep. 3 asterisk. Next, Diablo 4.
Are we not all excited about this?
I am very
yeah.
excited about Diablo 4.
Yes.
No, you're not, Tim.
Well,
What's wrong with
right,
you?
the only thing that didn't excite me is when they originally announced it, I missed the fact that it wasn't one of the games that they announced on that stream that was on Game Pass. So when they originally said, oh, it's coming to Game Pass, I was like, that's perfect. That means you can group up with people, and that makes it really easy to play multiplayer games of it. And no, it's a full price game. So I was like, oh,
Is it really?
yeah.
Yep.
But this is a first-party title from Xbox. They're all meant to be on Game Pass, aren't they?
That's what I thought. Like, I could be wrong about that, but from what I looked up,
Shall
that
I
seems to be the
fact check
case. Yeah, double check me. But yeah, I was a bit less excited because it wasn't. But I tweeted out that it was, and then that seems to be wrong.
Told you were an idiot.
So
I mean, I'll still pick it up if that's
yeah,
the case.
that's the thing. I probably will end up, especially if you guys are going to play it. And we can probably play it together. Like I feel like I didn't.
I don't know.
Play
I
enough
don't know if we've got enough room in our party for you, Tim.
I feel like I didn't play enough of 3, but I did like 3 a lot.
You know,
so
we got Kev and probably Cobb. You know,
Yeah, he'll dust off some form of console. And then
I'll find my own friends to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we have to dust off the PS4 version and finish our extra
I must
life
say,
from
after
5 years ago.
After you having a chat last week about Diablo, I have now reinstalled Diablo 3 in my PS5.
I saw, yeah, it got me and Kev to talk again. Maybe we should finish the extra life run we started.
Yeah, boys. That's what we should be doing. Yeah, there is... No, it doesn't look like Diablo 4 is coming to Game Pass. All it says is that it will be cross-play and cross-progression for all platforms.
Yes. So
that is a little bit of a surprise, I have to say.
Well, I mean, if it's not on Game Pass, then it might go for a PS5 purchase over an Xbox purchase. But then it depends on how they get supported going forward, as it is technically an Xbox property.
Yeah, it's going to be a weird one.
Yeah, I mean, what I think is interesting on this is that they have changed up the formula quite a bit with Diablo 4. And I say that insofar as it's a lot more open-ended. It was quite obvious the critical path you had to take, especially during the story on Diablo 3, Diablo 2, Diablo 1. And this is kind of more like there is a massive open world in which you exist with an absolute buttload of other players, and there are dungeons that you have to go through. So
yeah,
it actually seems to be taking, what's interesting, a little bit of a leaf out of, or it might be vice versa, Diablo Immortal's book, where it makes interactions with other players a lot more obvious, I think, because I think at Diablo 3 it was just limited to PvP. So I think there's going to be some interesting stuff with buddying up with people who you know and don't know. And I also am really looking forward to the kind of the build crafting there's going to be. It sounds like they've really doubled down into that, even more than Diablo 3. And the amount of customization options there appear to be off the bat seem fantastic. I love a Diablo game. And I have to say, Diablo Immortal, it's got its flaws, definitely, but that has really tickled me undercarriage in a very pleasant way and made me look forward to some more substantive Diablo stuff. But there's always new seasonal content with Diablo 3, so like I said, might dip back into that on the PlayStation.
I've played Diablo Immortal every day since picking it up now. And I'll quickly mention as we're talking about it. The Big Red Barrel clan on Woodwraith, if you wanted to join that, it's no longer a clan, it's a dark clan now. It's been upgraded, so you have to be level 43 to join.
That's all right, I am.
I'm just letting anyone know in general. If
I'm a super cool person, I can come to, but it's not on the server that I'm on, so I'm going to have to start from scratch.
Yeah, I had to kick a lot of people off so I could do that. I felt really bad. Because we had like 60 people in the group, and I had to reduce it to about 20 because they weren't high level enough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mean man.
To join the fun.
Mm-hmm. Fun,
I mean, the cackling as you did it was probably a little bit unnecessary.
I did it. I was looking at it, and it went, "Oh, you have to have everyone in your group has to be this level to upgrade." I was like, "Damn!" But it was late, and I went, I'll sort this out in the morning. And I woke up early so I could log in before work and do it on the PC quickly.
Nice.
Just get everyone deleted before I carry on. What's the next game, Dan?
It's Marvel's Midnight Suns, SpiderMan.
Ooh, 1 for 10.
Right, I won't go too much about it because we did mention it before. Like, I thought it was interesting that they announced Spider-Man to go with that. I can understand his appeal. Anyone doesn't know, Marvel's Midnight Sun is the game being made by XCOM developers, and they did show off a little bit more gameplay as well as revealing Spider-Man. I don't know if they had the gameplay reveal here. It was one of the other events I saw. But generally, across the course of the whole non-E3 week, it's had a couple of different things. Spider-Man was the main announcement, and yeah, I don't remember and I could be misremembering, but I don't remember Spider-Man being involved in any of the previous Midnight Sun stuff. And they've added a few characters that I don't think were necessarily involved. They've also, I didn't notice this when we talked about it before, but they pointed out particularly that they've changed the name because it used to be Midnight Suns with an O. And they've changed the name to be more inclusive so that they can include female characters as well. Because I don't think there was any female characters before.
Yeah, so it's Sons with a U.
Yeah,
now.
and I don't think Spider-Man was part of it.
And there's some inherent irony. There's an oxymoron in there, kids, for extra grammatical fun.
And
I think
It's
so.
midnight, and it's a sun.
I was just going to say, they also announced alongside Spider-Man that they announced that Venom would be one of the antagonists as well. A Venom that had been corrupted
Good on,
by
Chris.
Lilith, basically. I think it's Lilith, is that right? The name of the other
Okay.
Venom, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, from Frasier and Cheers.
Yes, that's exactly right.
So, yeah.
It's all about
Terrifying.
that salad and
She's actually
scrambled
quite
eggs.
terrifying.
But yeah, like Spider-Man's, Spider-Man is never going to be a bad addition. I was just kind of hoping for Punisher because he makes a bit more sense to be added to Midnight Suns, partially because he suits some of the other characters.
Well, I think with the
and also because he had the Frankencastle
'Cause they-
storylines as well. But
yeah, I mean they did the initial reveal, then they did the trailer breakdown thing, and then they did the gameplay breakdown thing, and then we got this Spider-Man reveal. And with the idea of this one, to get the costume that they show Spider-Man in, the darker looking costume, to kind of fit in with the theme, I think you have to sign up to the newsletter or something, or
yeah, they did
tie
some
your account
tweets,
and
tweet
then
related
you'll be able-
stuff. I did retweet some of that so that you could see that possibly.
And they did that before. You could get a Blade costume if you did
I missed that
signed up
one.
to a newsletter and all this kind of stuff. And they keep doing that. Was in the initial thing. You could probably still go for that now. But when they do stuff like that, it makes me go, "This is a mobile game. This is a mobile game that you're going to charge me for."
Yeah.
I do fear, but
And it's just, I know it's the pedigree behind it makes me think that this will be worth it. I mean, not for me because it's a very strategy focused background on that studio, and I looked at the gameplay and wanted to like it because it's a Marvel game, but it doesn't look like it'll appeal to me. But at the same time, like a lot of the vibes I get from it just makes me think this is a mobile game that you're sticking on the PC and sticking on Switch and stuff.
I trust I can't remember their name, but I trust the developers behind XCOM to make a decent game. This is shaping up nicely in the way that I'd want it to. They have also said there'd be 2 extra characters on the way, so I'm still crossing my fingers for Punisher, but I'm guessing one of them is more likely to be Daredevil, just because he fits in well with the Midnight Suns and he's more popular because of the TV show, although again Punisher might fit into that as well, basically.
And and coming back on the TV show. And also, but the other one, I've got the exclusive. It's actually Kelsey Grammer as Beast from X-Men 3 Last Stand.
Nice. Good callback.
But he'll look like that version of Beast, but he will definitely be Frasier in personality.
Yeah,
Excellent.
and arguing with Niles about tickets to the opera and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was there. Who can we get in as Niles?
Sideshow Bob's brother.
You.
Nice.
Dan starring as
Next.
Niles.
Oh no, wait! Niles was in Hellboy. Niles was in Hellboy. That character.
Yeah.
He'll be in crossing
Wasn't
over.
was he the fish dude?
Really good. Next song.
Anyway, yeah.
Next
Not
one.
next song. Not next song. Next game.
Next one.
Well,
Well,
I'm going to do. I think we ought to do a little readers poll on this because we can finally.
How do you know the readers have a little
Sea
poll?
of Thieves season 7. Yeah, HMS. What should my ship be? What should Coleman's ship's name be?
Slappy McSlapphead.
Yeah, nice.
Something like that, I guess. But yeah, I'm excited about this. Season 7 for Sea of Thieves has been announced, and they haven't really gone into much detail of the season itself. But one of the big updates is you can finally captain your ship. You can
I
have
am
your
the
ship,
captain of
save
my
all your
ship.
customization to it.
Yep.
A lot of the items and things you can pick up as souvenirs, they will stay in that ship now. And you can, of course, name your ship, which sounds brilliant.
What happens
I'm very
if
excited
your
by that.
ship...
And I really liked...
Sorry, what happens if your ship gets sunk?
Then it just.
Can you bring it back in
then
the
you
same
get a new one.
form? Or do you lose all your bits?
I don't think it's like Elite or Star Citizen where you've got to pay like insurance for it.
Yeah, you have
That's
to
where you're
pay
going.
$2,000 to get your ship back.
Yep. You have to dive down to the bottom of the sea, bring it back up to the surface, plank by plank, and then rebuild it. That's what you have
Yeah,
to do.
if someone sinks your ship in the game at the moment, then you just spawn it back and make it reappear on the island you're on, and it will be in the same customization and stuff that you've done previously before setting off. But whenever you start a new game, all the customization is gone and you have to restart it all. I'm assuming it's a similar type of thing, but you'll be able to bring back your ship. However, items and things that you can use to customize your ship, I don't know if that would be stealable. You know, if someone might go on and go, a golden Banjo and Kazooie statue, I'll steal that one for my ship.
Also, can we have more musically based announcement trailers in the future, please? I like that. That's good. Go with that, please.
Yeah, I would like the Spider-Man 2 trailer from Insomniac, if they could do it in musical.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That'd be good. So there we go. Sea of Thieves Season 7. You should get it. It's on Game Pass. And it's free. It's a free expansion if you've already got the game through some other ways or means. Next.
One of my biggest losses in life is that we don't play Sea of Thieves enough.
Okay.
I want to play more.
Let's do that.
Oh, I love it so much.
Right, let's put Tim in a cannon and make him vom over the side of the ship.
You've already done
and then
that.
we'll just fire Tim into an... what we're going to do is we're going to fire Tim onto another ship, and he's going to talk the other crew to death.
Oh,
and then we
good
can
plan.
steal all their loot. Yeah.
What we'll do, clay parrot shooting. Basically, I'll load my parrot, Little Red, into one of the cannons. You load Tim into the other cannon, and then I'll fire the parrot, and then you'll fire Tim at the parrot, and we'll see if we miss it.
This sounds good.
Deal.
Right. Will the fun never start? Next up, we have Boundary.
Oh, right. Very quickly, because they didn't show very much of that, but it's 0G first-person shooting. Colour me interested.
Right.
They did seem to indicate that it was just on Steam for the moment, but it's hopefully one that will make its way to other platforms. I'm also kind of hopeful that they might do a VR version, but we'll see if that ever comes out.
Oh, that will be Vomit Comet, mate.
Well, I would like to do that.
That'd be Vomit
Coleman
Comet.
may not, but I will definitely sign up for that at some point. But yeah,
I'll have to
So,
I'll
apart
have
from
to
the
take
fact it's in
tablet.
0G, is there anything else notable about it?
Well,
or is it just, that's a 0G shooter?
Right, it looked like kind of graphically realistic, though, and you were fighting your way around a realistic-looking space station, as in, like, the ISS type thing, rather than Deep Space
It looks a
Nine
bit
type
like
stuff,
the space
basically.
bits, modern warfare.
Yeah.
That was. The space bits of that.
Yeah, and I was just like, okay, yep, that's piqued my interest. I'll keep an eye out for that one. So yeah, there wasn't, as I said, there wasn't many more details than that. But for now, I'm like, okay, yeah, let's see where that goes.
And remember, in space, no one can hear you complain about aimbots. Next, Witchfire.
Oh, again, a little bit light on details. This had a little bit more, and we kind of seen I think it's been announced previously, but this was one that they showed a bit more details and a bit more interesting trailer on the Summer Games Fest. This is one that appeared there. But this is a kind of first person shooter, but with a kind of westerny feel, but
New Age fun with vintage feel.
and it's something that we've seen creep into a few games, like Weird West and a few things being one of them, where there seems to be some sort of horror kind of fantasy, like kind of vampire-y type things and ghouls and all that type of stuff involved with the
Red
with
Dead
the West.
Redemption, Undead Nightmare.
Yes, that type of thing, but first-person shootery, but
Redeem harder.
it looked to be of very high quality, I thought, basically. And so, yeah, that's one that I can't remember if that was coming to Game Pass as well, possibly. But yeah, again, just one that piqued my interest and one that I will be keeping an eye on to see how that one shapes up. But that's one I'm looking forward to based on what we've seen of that one so far.
Jolly good. Righty-ho. Which one is next?
Flick it while people are talking, and then you'll have it queued up ready to go.
I know, that's what I was doing, but I got distracted. All right, I've decided. Next one we're going to talk about is Flashback 2.
Ooh.
Flashback 2, we didn't get a lot of gameplay in this trailer. It was a pre-rendered thing, but there was kind of cubes in the background with reflections of the gameplay on there. I don't know, Flashback, game that came out in I want to say the 90s.
It
might have been the 80s.
Very early.
Pretty
Yeah,
sure
I
it's
think in
the 90s.
1990 maybe. But
that would be
similar
very
to-
early 90s, Tim.
yes.
Yeah, similar to Another World, whereas Another World, the same creators and stuff.
Oh, maybe it was
Anyway. 2D but 3D looking on a 2D perspective. Old game, used to like really chug and was quite slow and stuff, but you can get it on Monday consoles, plays a lot smoother and stuff. I used to absolutely be in awe in as a child and see when I played the original Flashback and I saw how that game looked on an Amiga 500 Plus. I genuinely was like, wow, games will never look this good.
Yeah, I look. Do you know? At the time, the number of times I thought that, I even remember thinking that about Stunt Race FX. And if you look at that now, that looks like hot garbage.
I mean, I used to think Dragon's Lair, but yeah, Flashback for me always looked like Space Prince of Persia kind of thing. I mean, like it kind of definitely felt a little bit like that. Very heavily animated, like movement between platforms and all that.
Oh, it was all like rotoscope, like that.
Yeah.
I am gonna have a controversial opinion on this. I'm not sure I want it to happen.
Oh, you Philistine!
Flashback was so perfect and so great.
It really wasn't.
Do we really need a sequel?
Well, we've had a remake.
I get your hesitation. I really do, because I don't know if you guys remember, we had a remake on Xbox Live Arcade, and it wasn't bad. It was very broken, which was the issue. So it was a good idea, but it just wasn't. The budget was not there behind the game that it deserved, in my opinion.
Okay.
Hoping we get a true sequel and something that we can enjoy from a. I mean. And that's the problem as well. You can't really make something and go, this is for the purebred fans of Flashback 2, and it plays and looks like Flashback 2, because anyone that has never played Flashback 2 will start it and go, this is rubbish. Because you weren't there, man.
You weren't there.
Yeah.
You weren't there.
But I'm maybe it's a small scope, smaller budget type thing. Play really well. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. But I am excited just to see what the gameplay is going to look like fully.
Honestly, if you had to express your excitement using a noise, how excited are you? I would say there's a tinge of there's a tinge
Curious.
of optimism,
Curious
but also
optimism.
a little bit of just being resigned to it might just be okay. I think that was a very good descriptive noise.
Good noise,
That's
Coleman. Good
optimistic
noise.
surprise I was going for.
Okay.
Yeah,
I give you a
a
noise 8 out of 10, Coleman. It was a good noise.
I mean, I could genuinely say, out of every single game that has been either shown off, updated, announced throughout the whole of Summer Games Fest, that is the one that surprised me.
Okay.
I did not see that coming.
Yeah, true.
Very good.
Fair enough.
Alrighty, next up, this is another big one.
Yep.
Starfield.
Ooh.
Oh, possibly the biggest game to be shown off throughout the whole event.
Possibly
the blandest.
I am concerned about this game.
Concerned, but also hopeful.
I am concerned. It could be great, but
Hopefully concerned.
Hopefully concerned.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Bethesda have done this before, where they've had massive, bitten off a massive chunk of optimism about what they can deliver.
Right.
Hasn't always necessarily played out. I don't know. I think the thing that unsettled me the most about it was that there's still the Bethesda classic kind of uncanny valley characters with their dead glassy eyes and whose faces move like they're made out of 72% Botox. They don't quite look right. Although there was some more facial expression there. It did look a little bit strange. I mean, the kind of the name, people who consider themselves a bit of a card for giving it on the internet is No Man's Skyrim.
Yes,
but
I was going to mention that as well.
But I don't. I've got a feeling it's going to be. Do you remember in Mass Effect 1, Tim, where they were like, "Hey, there are planets you can go to, planets you can explore."
1,000 planets.
There's a massive planet with a shed on it, and so all you could do was go and explore the shed.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be that bad, but I do think they are writing awfully big checks with their mouths that I don't know how well they're going to be able to.
I thought one of the
cash. And to be honest, I'm not going to. my concern is they're trying to do so much with it, like trying to get the physics and the gameplay of like space combat right is a really difficult thing to do in and of itself. I think some of the customization options are properly cool. I kind of like the, discovering ancient civilization side of this. That's always a fun trope to have in a sci-fi game. I don't know, there's just something about it where I was a bit underwhelmed.
I was a bit worried when one of the first things they do is you land on the planet and walk up to something and then mine a rock from the thing in front of you. I'm like, that is so overly done. I just don't need to do. No, what are you doing? And also, they've said that they're not putting in the tech so that you can take off from your ship, fly off into space, and get into combat. There's going to be a distinct 2 different realities, they said, between going down and landing on a planet and being in space. And I'm just like, I think we're past that, dude. I think if No Man's Sky is eating your lunch on that side of things, I think you need to find a way to do that. Like Todd Howard said it wasn't something that they considered as important. And I think when you're going to be compared to what's already out there, it is important to do things as well as people that are already doing it. Now, they may take a different approach and that may work out well, and I kind of hope it does. But yeah, like you say, Dan, I'm a bit concerned from what they showed so far, basically.
And there's no way in hell that's coming out on time. No way in hell. No way in hell.
I mean, I'm optimistic towards the game itself, and I know that it looks like stuff that has existed before, but if we're to believe what is coming out from Todd Howard, that this isn't a No Man's Sky type game. The idea is this is a Bethesda, this is a Skyrim, this is a Fallout, this is something that you are doing a main storyline on. And I think that's where, maybe not so much these days, but when No Man's Sky first came out, that was kind of what was missing in the game. You didn't really have that hook to keep you, like, what was the intention? You go to the center of the universe and then it will push you back to the start. Spoiler alert for a game that came out years ago.
Also, generally didn't the center of the universe is a really chuffing long way away.
Oh, right. Yeah, you spend ages getting to the center of the universe, and then it just starts you at the back again. And then
and if you look on like the No Man's Sky wiki, there are people who have gone like to the 100th iteration of the universe. So, the 100th version of the universe is called this. Who really have sunk a scary amount of time into it.
Which and No Man's Sky has been updated so much that it's a fun experience now. But at the time, I mean, and I loved when No Man's Sky initially released, it was very bare bones, but the things that were there, that hook kept me going. And it wasn't so much I have to get to the center of the universe. It was like, I'm just chilling out, man. I'm driving around on my spaceship. I'm mining for different materials and all this kind of stuff. This is a proper RPG type story. It just happens to have this kind of set dressing to make you go, oh yeah, I can customize my ship and all these kind of things. It's Skyrim. It's got this customization to it, and it's got this exploration idea to it. I know loads of people that have played Skyrim and Fallout and in different iterations, or Elder Scrolls in different iterations, and have never completed them because they got way too sidetracked going off and doing other things. And I'm the same with a lot of those titles as well. So the space exploration type deal that comes along with that, I think it works, and I'm interested to see how that works out. This is a Game Pass one, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yes.
I thought the shipbuilding looked good, but I worry that they've put base building in because Bethesda has never made an interesting base building thing that worked well. The stuff in Fallout was terrible. But anyway, look, let's not try and be too negative.
Controversial opinion. I would just actually like them just to stick to the RPG stuff and really nail that.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, who knows? It could be a really, really competent RPG and with some pretty bad space mechanics to it. But as long as I have fun playing the game, then I'm good. And Bethesda, though their games do come out, with a lot of faults to them, and it is, especially after Fallout 76's launch, inexcusable at this point. Pay so much money for a video game and it's full of bugs and you're waiting for the patches and all this kind of stuff and
will people
save exploits and all this kind of thing
but will people be a bit more forgiving of the standard Bethesda jank if it does come out with that, if they're not paying the £60 to £70 entry price type thing?
no.
Exactly. If it's on Game Pass, I think there's going to be a lot more leniency from the user side, maybe not the reviewer side.
Yes.
I disagree on that. I think it's going to get out in front of more people because Game Pass. But a lot of people who use Game Pass are just looking for their right, what's the next game I'm going to play? And they might not necessarily have tolerance for jank. Bethesda games are notorious for not having a great first impression. I get the feeling the attach rate, and by that I mean playing game through to the end, on Game Pass is quite dependent on those first impressions. So we'll see.
Sorry to generalize, and I love to see the official stats for this, but I know it's not something that gets released from Microsoft. But the general impression I get from a lot, and I mean a lot of people on social media, is that they complain about the lineup of games that comes out if they don't have like all the heavy hitters in one hit. But at the same time, I reckon a lot of them install games and don't play them. And I think that's your general Game Pass user.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been
Right.
guilty of doing the same. But yeah, next one.
Next up. Oh, by the way, the sound I would make if I had to sum up my impression of Starfield would be... that would be my noise.
It's a pretty good noise.
Yeah. I'm going to stick to this. We're all going to make a noise for each sound, for each game, is what we're going to do.
No, we're not. Because that's
Yeah, we are.
Takes up too much time. Let's go.
The world has been a very confusing place the last couple of years. What with the virus, what with politics, what with being stuck indoors and events being cancelled and all kinds of things. But we're starting to see a bit of normality with seeing things open up again. And it now seems the right time for us to get back into the swing of things with Tabletop Tuesday.
I'm not sure Tabletop Tuesday or anything that we've ever done BRB related could ever be described as normality, but
Normal
yes,
for us.
let's go with that. Let's say it is. But yeah, we're getting back to normal service, resuming with Tabletop Tuesday. We've had a few events already, and they have been a roaring success so far, so we're going to open it up and carry on and go full guns blazing into Tabletop Tuesday. So please come along and join us. We will have a feature game at the end of June as our first feature game, and then we will look to see exactly how many feature games we have going forward. But if anyone that doesn't know, the way we normally run things at a Tabletop Tuesday is we have a different feature game each week. If you play that feature game at any point in the evening, you have a chance of winning a copy of the game at the end of the night.
Wow.
So we'll have more details on the site about upcoming feature games, so check out bigredbarrel.com for more information. But if you want to join us, just come along any Tuesday from about 7:30. We generally kick things off about 8 o'clock, but there's usually people playing games from 7:30. And note that there is a slightly new location. They've moved slightly down the road from where Loading Bar was before, and it's now at 129 Stoke Newington High Street, which is N16 0PH. Again, there's more details on bigredbarrel.com, more details on our meetup group, which now has over 2,000 members, so come along and join that as well, and you'll get some more information sent to you as and when it goes out. But generally, yep, it's a really nice way of playing some games, getting introduced to other people that play games. You don't have to come along with a group. If you come along with a group, I can, make games available to you and make some recommendations. If you come along on your own, I can help you find a friendly group to play along with. There's myself and Chris, which are hosting the event. Not this Chris that I'm currently making this advert with, but a gentleman called Chris Turner, who's helping us out on the hosting side of things now as well.
Please, Chris.
And the new loading is really nice as well. It's a much bigger venue than we had before, so we've got more room to grow in. There is food available, which is really nice. I tried their vegan burger yesterday and really liked it. So there you go. And yeah, there's a number of things on the menu.
You have been hanging around Stoke Newington a bit.
But yeah, you can have beef burgers or vegan burgers, and there's various different things available. They've also got some gluten-free options, which is good for me at the moment as well. But yeah, generally, food's really nice there. Like, the drinks have always been good and fun, and there's a load of arcades to play, and obviously the tabletop stuff that we bring an element to as well. But the games are generally available to play even when we're not there. But Tuesday night is the ideal night to come along and get introduced to people to play along with. And you can also win a game just by playing it on some Tuesdays as well. But yeah, come along and join us. Tabletop Tuesday at the Loading Bar in Stoke Newington. Stoke Newington is now the nearest station as well, just to mention that as well. But come along and join us. It's a good time for all, and we'll be ramping that up in the future and doing a few more things, having a few more guests in the future as well, and a few other surprises in store. So come along and join us any Tuesday from 7:30 to 8 o'clock in Loading Bar, Stoke Newington.
Loading Bar, Stoke Newington for Tabletop Tuesday. It's the pink bar that's in between Three Crowns and the White Hart. So if you see either of those bars, you've gone too far. Go back the other way. It's the pink one. Can't miss it.
Okay, my next Plucky Squire.
Oh,
I want to play a book. I want to play a book.
Yes.
game of the show.
Yes, I like the look of this
Game
game.
of
It
the
looks great.
week.
Buy it.
I could not believe this. So this is in the Devolver Digital 2022 showcase. I know a lot of people that don't watch the Devolver Digital stuff because they find it very cringy. It's if you don't know, they make a parody of an E3 type keynote speech presentation, and their version of that. And over the years, it's been developed. Like there's this whole through storyline that changes in different ways, and the last iteration we got was, hey, everyone's at home, so we're going to do our own vote. Like they basically turned it into Nintendo Direct, as a million other studios were doing the same type of thing. I won't spoil the story. Go watch it for yourself. But they had 4 games buried somewhere deep in the story.
And Suda 51.
And one of them, and Suda 51 being weird. I just did not get that section.
Well, when is he? He's never. He's always been a bit of a Rogman. Let's face it. Suda 51.
I think the minute he wasn't working under someone, he's insane. Plucky Squire, we got to see it, and it looks like a 2D down perspective RPG type game, a little like Zelda type thing, but it's done in the perspective of you staring into a book, a storybook, and as the pages turn, the character moves across to the next page, and you carry on playing. And then it just completely subverts your expectations, and the characters leave the book. And they start doing different forms of the games, and it's a 3D platformer, and there's a racer, and there's just all this stuff thrown in, and I love the imagination of that, and I can't wait to pick this up.
It just looks like fun.
Yeah.
It just looks like pure fun, and I like that. It's just refreshing to have a game that all it wants to be is fun.
I don't know if you guys, if either of you
nonsense.
two picked up a game called Pixel Ripped, which is a VR game.
Yes, we both know the developer.
Right, yes. So, but it kind of reminded me of that in some ways, basically. But it just the kind of having the division between the kind of the book and that, and whereas in Pixel Ripped it was a kind of Game Boy type device and the environment going around you. But looked really inventive and really interesting, and it looked cool before they left the page. Like that looked interesting in itself. And then it just took it to another level when it left the page and went into a full 3D environment. So very much looking forward to that one. That looks brilliant.
Right. Next up, we have the diametric opposite, I think, from Plucky Squire. Also from the Devolver Digital show is Angerfoot.
This is first-person Hotline Miami.
Yeah, it is. It looks insane.
Yes. In a good way.
It just looks, insane in a really stupid, fun way.
All accounts seem to.
I just want to kick things.
Yeah, all accounts seem to indicate that it plays as well as it looks as well from early impressions I've seen from people at the show and stuff. Just looks crazy and fun.
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set myself some homework because you can actually play a demo on Steam. So I'm going to install that and I'm going to play it before next week.
Do that.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Let's get some impressions.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Looks good.
All right, so we'll come back to that one if you want to jump to the next one, Dan.
And you can kick big red barrels into stuff. True fact.
Yes.
Game of
Yeah.
the year.
Yeah, you can.
On brand.
Game of the minute.
Also,
right,
just before we leave,
Callisto.
just before we leave that one very quickly though, is it just me or again that was a game I was interested in seeing in VR possibly? Don't know if Devolver will necessarily do that, but I think that could work really well.
I think out of the
graphics
three
would
of us,
pop, but
that's definitely just you.
Okay.
I mean, it's an interesting idea, Tim.
Okay.
I mean, you have just bought a fairly flash new telly. You might want to not be kind of doing high kicks in your front room That's all I'm going to
Yeah.
say.
I'm
Right,
looking
next
for
up,
PS2
Callisto
outside.
Protocol.
Oh,
Yes, so this is a game that was meant to be a PUBG universe tie-in title from the creator of what was it called? Dead
yeah,
Space?
Dead Space. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dead
Dead
Space,
Space,
sorry.
Glenn Schofield.
However, this is no longer part of the, I don't know why they did it, but the PUBG tie-in universe, it is its own thing now. It
Makes
is
more
still
sense.
a
Called
very
Krafton.
much... Sorry?
It's called Krafton, the PUBG company, which makes it sound like some form of processed cheese.
Yep.
Is very much
I mean, I'm sure there's a commentary on PUBG there somewhere, but never mind.
is very much inspired by either Dead Space, which makes no surprise as from the developer of Dead Space. It's a sci-fi in space horror game, and
Point out, just
in the time
point-
where
sorry.
EA
Go on. Just going to say,
No, go on.
slight correction. It's not the developers of Dead Space because they don't exist anymore because EA knocked them out. EA killed off Visceral, but it's the people that moved on and made another studio.
the head developer of the studio that
yes.
used to work on Dead Space.
and a lot of other
How's that?
developers that did used to work on Dead Space, yes.
You pedantic little shit.
I mean, not going to lie, Coleman's got a point.
Yeah. Wow, pulling at straws, my friend. Clutching straws, even. That's probably the pulling at hairs, clutching at straws.
Yeah, definitely
of
not
those
pulling
things.
Mountain
hairs.
out of a molehill.
Mate, I'm a townie with no hair, so I don't know either of those phrases.
Wow. Sorry, we didn't mean
Anywho,
to. We didn't need to slap head shame you. Sorry, buddy.
It's more a case of there is a remake of Dead Space on the way from EA for a completely different studio that has, I don't think there are any original Visceral Games members on that
That's
studio.
dead in the
but
water now,
Callisto
but-
Protocol. No, it's just delayed at the
Yeah.
moment. I think it's still coming.
Right, but it's been delayed past the point where now there's about 80 billion space horror shooters announced, and one of them is the Callisto Protocol, which just looks like it's going to be way better than the Dead Space remake, right?
Yeah, and I fully agree with that, but at the same time, I could totally see EA going, just playing Scorned Lover, and putting it up against them.
Scorn also looks better than the Dead,
but at the
Dead
same
Space
time-
Well, do
remake
that.
as well, but hey.
There is that. But yeah, Callisto Protocol, I don't know if it's just the way they've done the marketing and the style for this game and all the like accoutrements and the artwork and stuff outside of the game, but they've done this in such a way that it looks like a AAA title almost, that it isn't presented it's presented as a AAA title that isn't a AAA title, and I think it looks really good.
Yeah, it looks incredible. It very much is I would say kind of a bit of a reimagining of the Dead Space kind
Formula,
of tropes.
yeah.
There's a lot of very gory ways to die. If you want
Yes.
to have half your head eaten off, leaving only your chin strap beard, that's an option if that's how you want to die in this game. I think it looks incredible. I think it's I think you're right, Tim. There's going to be a lot of similarities between Dead Space. It would be a bit of an odd thing if it did go head to head with Dead Space. I'm not sure there's room in the market for both of them coming out at the same time.
Well, there's about 8 different
but-
space horror shooters now that were announced over the course of this week, if you include the Dead Space remake as well. It does seem like a very, very
it's
popular thing. I think that's partly the place where we are in the development of these consoles as well, in the lifespan of the consoles. Like, you tend to get game set in space because they're a bit sparser and a bit less people, and you tend to get horror games in the early part of a console life cycle because they seem like they're easier development and somewhere where they can play around with all the new lighting effects and get like a good use out of those sort of things. So I think that's playing into why we're getting so many. But yeah,
I will give EA this because I know a lot of gamers that don't play. Back when they call them FIFA gamers, but a lot of gamers that don't play so many games like we do. They don't follow the news or anything like that, and I can guarantee they all know what Dead Space is.
Yeah.
And they have no idea what any of these other games
that
are.
is true. But for me, the Callisto Protocol and Scorn are the ones that really stuck out over and above everything else that was like sort of pointed out. from this week.
Scorn creeps me out.
Scorn is not on our list. However,
And
It's,
all I will
it's
say
not
about
weirdly, but we did cover it before, and it still creeps me
and
out.
it does. It's. I bet you wish you didn't pick that.
Well,
the game.
but they came out and said that it wasn't a shooter this week, and that made actually me more interested in it because it's just a very creepy, like path puzzle solving game, and I'm actually more on board for that, I think. But anyway, yeah, remind me of the original Prey as well.
Right.
But yeah.
We are starting to run a little long. So
Yes.
I am going to take the random number generator under some advisement. I'm going to force discussions on certain things. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Cool.
Strap in.
Do it.
Forza Motorsport. Looks
Go on,
very
Dan.
nice.
Nice and
Could be
shiny.
a great game. It was a real sizzle reel, and I actually thought what was interesting to me was that a lot of the things they were saying were throwing direct shade at Gran Turismo. It's like, oh yeah, there's weather and day-night cycles on every track.
Yeah. We come to eat your lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's a heck of a pretty looking game. I mean, I'd imagine. I mean, I think they claimed they said everything was in-game footage, including stuff that was doing real-time ray tracing with reflection of cars on themselves, which is computation very expensive.
But will there be an intro video that shows the kind of vintage history of motorsport to the progression of the modern day?
Oh my
which I
God.
feel was missing from the Forza series.
Back in 4 million years BC,
More
the
importantly-
man invented the wheel.
More importantly-
the following Tuesday.
More importantly, will there
He
be
rolled
a
it down a
cafe
hill.
where you can meet other people and discuss the
Jesus.
history of cars in a cafe setting?
Do you want my honest opinion? I chuffing well hope not, Tim. All right? I chuffing well
I hope
hope
there
not.
is.
So
I
anyway,
hope
it's
instead
a
of a
very
little
pretty looking
cafe where
game.
you look at a little wine list of challenges to do, I hope it's like drivers, dives,
Yeah,
and dine-ins or whatever the hell.
greasy
that thing's
spoons.
called.
Like a greasy
Yeah.
spoon.
Guy Ferrari in a flaming top and his bleach hair, and he's like, "Yo, we got the cars over here with the burgers."
What? I'll have the spam frit with extra chips, please. Anyway, so it looks
This is
very
a
pretty.
tip.
The,
Dan is a man who's never heard of Guy Fieri until just
I
now.
have heard who he is. Thank you very much. He's the bleach blonde, spiky haired, but bearded weirdo that he is.
Yeah, I used to
Alright.
watch it when I lived at Tibbs.
On
On the same subject, I'm going to jump us into Forza Horizon 5, the Hot Wheels
Good.
expansion.
Yeah, what
They're
I was
doing
gonna
it
do.
again.
Hot Wheels
on
craziness.
Forza Horizon 5. Brilliant. They
Yep.
probably smart to miss that on the British Forza Horizon 4. So jump into it now for Mexico.
Yeah.
I'm assuming we're all playing this because
Yes, we are. of
Forza
course.
Horizon 5 is great and the Hot Wheels expansion is fun.
It's going to be a ton of fun. Other stuff, just to quickly touch on.
Assuming it's a free
I'm going to
expansion,
pick
but yeah.
on.
No,
Huh?
Is it free? No, is it
no,
paid?
it'd probably be like 15, 20
Paid
quid.
expansion.
No. What if you've got the expansion pass? You get the.
Oh.
So if
I
you've
don't
if you
have
just
the
got the game
expansion
on Game Pass, you're not going to get it. You'll still have to buy the expansion to get it. So
Oh.
it's not free.
That's fine. I mean, you get the game on Game
Yeah,
Pass and then you
yeah.
just buy the DLC later.
Okay,
That's
Yeah.
the whole point of Game Pass is to upsell you on other stuff.
that is true.
All right. Before we get too cynical, we're going to talk about the untitled multiplayer game of Last of Us.
Yes, and this is very quick because I was talking last week about Last of Us Part 1. It got leaked just before the Summer Games Fest event where they officially unveiled it. So we've spoken all about that previously. But also they mentioned that there is going to be a multiplayer game, which is something that fans of The Last of Us, you guys don't even know. The fans of The Last of Us, they are always clamoring on about this multiplayer game. There's still a huge community behind the first game that came out on Last of Us on the PS3 and now the PS4 version. I think the PS3 version's been shut down. That still play this factions multiplayer version of the game, and they've been waiting to know where is factions on Last of Us 2. Is factions coming to Last of Us Part 1? And evidently, no. It's going to be its own thing. They're going to make a brand new game. They're probably going to charge 70 quid for that as well as the remake of the first game.
Well, why not?
And we're not going to know what it is until next year. But this is meant to be as big as any Naughty Dog game like Uncharted or The Last of Us, but it has an online component to it and a story and all this kind of stuff. And I think it kind of takes away from the idea that this probably isn't factions and it's more GTA Online.
Yeah, do you think they're gonna like have like a mishmash of universes as well? Do you think we'll see some Uncharted characters and some other stuff in there in a multiplayer format as well, or just Last of Us? You think?
No.
Okay.
This will be purely Last of Us. It will be set in one city, San Francisco, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then that's it. But I think it's going to be this kind of weird open world shooter game. I don't know. I've only got one screenshot of artwork to look at to figure out what it could be.
When
We've
has
got
that
city,
ever
and
stopped
that's
the
it.
internet from making shit up?
Yeah, but with what we know from what they said is, from the screenshot and from them saying that this is going to be a story-led multiplayer game, and it's big. It's as big as any Naughty Dog game that's been made previously. But yeah, very quickly.
Interesting.
It's just good to kind of carry on from what I was saying last week.
Right, we're going to do two more,
Okay.
and one of them is going to segue into next week.
I'm really disappointed that none of us highlighted Bear and Breakfast. I'm just going to mention that. And say
Don't
that
try
that's the case,
and
but...
take that over, Tim.
Yep,
two more games means two more
Not allowed.
games.
Not allowed.
So zip it. Zip it. Good
Just
point.
saying we're
Back in the
failing
corner.
our audience.
Goat Simulator 3.
Yeah.
Goat Simulator 3.
I didn't genuinely want to talk about this. It was
Well, you
more
gotta
a fact
talk
that
about
the
it.
way they announced
Yeah,
it
that
was
was
they
funny.
did a spoof of the Dead Island 2 trailer from 5-6 years ago that never came out. So they just did that again, but with goats instead of zombies.
Yeah, great stuff.
I have no interest in
it's
Goat
a whole lot of
Simulator,
dumb
but
fun.
I thought that
Goat
was funny.
Simulator. What a lovely bit of dumb fun this game is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Do you know what?
Last,
I've never played them.
last and most certainly not least is, and Tim has just excitedly downloaded this. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. This is reviewing very well already.
Yes.
I am very excited
Looks
to get my
great.
hands on it too.
6-player, which they announced recently. We won't go away too much. They didn't.
6, but there's only 4 turtles.
Well,
Tim.
that's a good thing. They've added April O'Neil, Splinter, and as announced in the Summer Games Fest, Casey Jones, as we'd predicted before they did as well. But yeah,
Yes.
it's going to be great. It looks fantastic. It's reviewing really well. It's available on Game Pass now, so download it if you haven't got it. I don't know about you guys. I'm very tempted to double dip on this and already pick it up on Switch as well, possibly. But I'm gonna stick to Game Pass. I've put it on my wish list on Switch. But I'm going to stick to Game Pass for now and then possibly pick it up when it's a bit cheaper in the future. But yeah, one I am very much looking forward to as well. So yeah, that looks brilliant.
Yes, the announcement of Casey Jones, that instantly made me go, oh, we predicted that, but it was kind of obvious at the same time. But I like that when, because I think initially they announced April O'Neil was the first one they announced, and I think it was either a me and Tim show or it was a me, Tim and Rick show. But we were speculating on who could be in there. It's like, it's got to be Casey Jones. Casey Jones can be in there. And every time they do one of these trailers, like, where's the Casey Jones? No, Casey Jones. Literally, they do it a couple of days before they release the game. They go, by the way, Casey Jones. So thanks for that.
I know you said you're wrapping up, but there's two I can do very quickly I would like to mention.
No.
Just High on Life.
No, Tim, seriously.
High on Life
Tim,
by
Tim,
Squanch Games looks
no.
very funny, is all I'll say.
No, Tim.
Okay.
Tim, sorry, curtains down. Tim, we're out of time.
Okay.
Next episode, we'll do it on the next show. All right? Okay, jolly good.
We won't.
Right. We have gone through. That is pretty good going. We have gone through over nearly 20 games. So I'm going to say we win at life. So good job, us.
Yeah, but Dan, Valheim on Xbox, I could buy that and then not play that version either.
Hey, look, that's how you roll with Game Pass. That's how you do it. That is how you do it. So that is your lot for this show. Thank you very much for listening. It's been a bit of a whistle-stop tour of everything, and it actually hasn't been enough time to talk about everything. If we remember, we will try and talk about more stuff in future shows, but I can't guarantee that we will.
We'll talk about it when it comes out.
Indeed. And even that's not guaranteed.
No.
Right. So, I think we're just going to point you in the direction of our show notes, because in there you will find wonderful, wonderful links to happiness places on the internet, including www.bigredbarrel.com, including twitter.com/bigredbarrel, including facebook.com/bigredbarrel, and including a link to our Discord, which we don't have a vanity L for, so I'm not going to say. It involves lots
if you
of
want to help
letters.
us get a vanity one, then please feel free to go on Discord and boost our Discord server. That'd be great.
Yes, inflate our internet egos for us.
We had a couple of people boosting us, and I checked the other day. It's just me and Dan now, so I think they left us for someone more deserving.
Mm-hmm. It's true fact. Or their Discord Nitro ran out when their Game Pass trial did.
Maybe. I don't hold grudges.
Yeah, but it's good of you not to mention it on the show.
It didn't bring it up at all. So
I'm just trying to. Well, I was thinking maybe we might get a sympathy, like a pity Nitro, you know?
Really? Do you want that
boost.
though? Do you really want that? Do you want to know?
I'll take it.
You want anything you can get? All right. Oh yeah, little bald
Any port of
hussy.
store,
yeah,
my
we have
friend.
been at 6
You're
out
a
of 7
little
for quite
slaphead
some
of a
time.
hussy. Yep. Right. So we haven't had a chance to do so for a while, and we'll try and get back to it next week. But we do like having questions posed to us, and we will try and answer them at the end of the show. Right. That's a show. We're done. We managed to go through that. Hello. We have a special guest in Tim's house who probably doesn't want us to draw attention to.
Oh, what's going on there?
Yeah. Right. We are. Yeah, no. Just no.
Okay. Hello.
No. Leave it.
It's me.
All right, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Tom's my son.
If you're going to mess around and mention things that aren't worth mentioning, I will mention the fact that Chorus is on Game Pass and is very good as well. A space shooter, very good. Really enjoying that. We'll hopefully talk about that more next week as well. But hey.
Well, if you're going to mention that, then I'm going to mention that Tim's girlfriend's Lorraine Kelly.
That's not true either.
As by the stellar impression we were doing just now. Hello. I'm Tom's my son.
I'm 392 years old, yet strangely still alluring. Anyway, we're going to go. Oh, bless her. All right. Right, we're going to go now. Thanks ever so much for listening. I have been Dan.
I might have been Tim.
Coleman.
I've been Chaos.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah,
I've been Lorraine Kelly. Sod it.
Chaos Kelly.
Chaos Kelly. That's me.
Yep. Right. Thank you ever so much for listening. And until next time, dear listeners, toodle bye.
You and your ears are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarrel.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarrel.com.
Do you want to be part of the closed alpha? I went, yes, please. And I signed up to it, and I created a Warner Brothers account and all that stuff. And they went, cool, you're in the closed alpha. And the entire time the closed alpha went on, I had no idea how to get into the closed alpha.